Probably should move my microphone a little closer.
Jesus Christ. That's the way to open it.
Hello,
everybody.
Welcome to another edition of the Gimmick Minute Wrestling Podcast. My name is Jason. I'm joined this week by Kevin, and returning is Riley. What's going on, guys? How we doing?
We're here. We're back
All
for
right.
1 week only.
Yeah. 1 week only.
I thought you were going to start a little rhyme there, Riley, when you said we're here.
I'm glad he didn't finish that. All right. Anyway, so
we're near.
We're near.
What do you think I was going to say?
God. Yeah. Okay. All right. Sure, that's what you're going to say. All right. Well,
hey, I've been a good boy. Like I'm in like the PG era.
You are.
If you think about it.
I think Michael just brought out the worst in you, so you've toned down a lot since he hasn't been around.
Yeah, that's probably true. It's his fault. Just remember that.
Yep. Riley's a better influence on you, I guess.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, hey, to anybody listening, if you're new to the podcast, we are Gimmick Minute. Basically, what we do is we talk about different things going on in the world of professional wrestling. So we have a few topics that we typically stick to, but just kind of go off the top of our heads, off of things that are going on, and give our 2 cents into it, our expert, non-journalist opinions, and basically try to find out what other people think as well. So you can let us know what you think just by tweeting. Oh, sorry, it's not tweeting anymore because it's X, but you can find us on X at Live Your Gimmick. That's the @ symbol followed by LIVYOURGIMMICK.
So what do they call it? Is it called Xing? Is it called...
Twixing is what Eric Bischoff refers to it as. Yeah.
Twixing, nice. I like that.
So, and if you're listening to the Thursday night football game like Kevin, I'll repeat that. It's the @ symbol followed by LIVYOURGIMMICK. So, before we get into all the things going on in the world of professional wrestling, who's ready for story time with Jason Hummel, baby?
Oh God. Speaking of which, your TikTok story that you posted last week from when it was just me and you. Let me just say that Morgan guessed it in 5 right away. She's like, "Why did Jason tell a story that story?" She knew what it was right away. I didn't even know what it was, but she knew what it was right away. So
she picked it up right away. All right, that's good.
So shout out to my wife who follows us on TikTok.
Did you happen to see the TikTok story from last week, Riley? Did you catch up on the show?
No. I don't know how to do the TikTok thing.
Oh, did you listen to the episode since you weren't on it?
No.
All right.
I figured it was just you guys bad mouthing me.
So it is like having Michael on the show.
I felt so bad. Like so much happened that week. I watched everything and I was ready, and just I couldn't stay awake. I couldn't move, couldn't get out of bed. I was just dead.
Oh, so now you're like me.
Yeah,
you're kind of the best. You're kind of the best of both,
or the worst. I'm not sure.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get started though, I gotta tell you a story that happened to me last night. All right. So, as you guys may know, I've over the past 6 months, 8 months to a year, I've been taking a CBD gummy, usually once a night before I go to bed. Right. So I've been finding I found a few different places. The one place I used to get them closed down, but I found another place that I got them, and I'm always very careful. I don't want anything with THC. I'm not trying to get high. I just basically like how it's helped my body. I've had issues with my joints, my feet, and different things like that. And when I take this on a consistent basis, that pain has pretty much gone away. Right. So I was out of the gummies. So I went to the store that I normally go to get them, and I asked for what I always get. And she handed me a container that looks exactly like the one I typically get. And I even checked the barcodes on them later on, and it is the same SKU that I normally get. But what I took last night, not a CBD gummy. Nope, not at all. I ran out to the store real quick to get something, and I came home and I was sitting on my chair and I just started to feel really, really weird. My whole body just Like, it was almost like I was kind of numb, paralyzed, like tingly feelings all over. And I kind of like, almost like kind of like an out of body type thing. Like I was feeling really, really funky. And I was like, what is going on with me? Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes when you get like a bad headache or you're dizzy and you're disoriented, like sometimes you can, but I didn't have a headache and I was just really dizzy and disoriented for like no reason. And then I started to think about it. I was like, oh shit, was that not a CBD gummy that I took? And it apparently was not. So I, I like proceed to kind of go through all these different stages of realizing that I'm high right now, because I've never been high in my entire life. Like I've never smoked weed. I've never taken anything with THC. So this is an absolute first for me. But the problem is I also took a gummy that is like 30 milligrams, which is quite a bit, especially if you've never had that in your system before. Yeah. So I was so first I was kind of giggling, like I thought it was really funny, and like I felt really good, and I went down to the basement and I started playing a video game, and like my TV screen is like coming out at me, and it's like kind of wobbly. It's just like, and, I'm feeling like my hands are like, I don't know, like I have 5 hands every time I move, like it's like a kaleidoscope almost, like I'm seeing all these things move around me. And then I start to get paranoid that maybe I'm not high and I'm like dying. Like because I started to feel like I was choking on something. So I was like, maybe I'm like laying on the floor somewhere choking and and this is just me like dying. Right. But then I kind of realized that wasn't the case. And like the whole time, like my brain is like fighting the weird thoughts that are going in. So I'm thinking like, I start thinking these weird things, but then my brain's trying to rationalize, like, no, you took this gummy, you're just feeling really fucked up right now, you're gonna be fine. But I started to keep feeling like that, like I started to get like real nauseous, especially because everything was just like moving around me like crazy. So then I made it up into my kitchen and got violently ill in our sink in the kitchen. And then I somehow managed to let the dog out and back in. And then I went upstairs and took a shower after I was done throwing up, because I was cleaning myself up. And then I lay down to go to bed. And then Riley, the dog, woke me up because I needed to take him out. And then I brought him back in and I went back to bed, and then he woke me up again at like 2. And then at that point, Katie was up. So I told her the whole story, which she thought was hilarious. And and I've been feeling weird ever since. I woke up this morning, and it took me about 24 hours to really feel like back to normal again. So I'm about 24 hours removed from it now.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you still have these gummies?
Oh yeah, I still have them. Yeah.
All right, let's talk off air. So obviously there was.
First of all, this is no joking matter. You should send them to me instantly to get rid of them. Just send them right over.
Yeah, but he's gonna have to like pay for.
I'll get rid of them for you.
Yeah, but like he'll have to pay for shipping.
Shipping, yeah, that's worth it.
So here's the thing, though. So I don't know if she sold me the wrong ones, or if this was just one in the batch that
there's only
maybe
one
snuck in.
So what? So what brand are they?
I don't remember. It's upstairs. I forget what brand it is, but the container is the exact same. And I read the whole label. I read everything. It all matches. And I even like checked the SKU on the bottom. It's the same SKU as the ones I normally get.
In all honesty, like I'm kind of just joking about, what I just said,
right,
but
yeah.
in all honesty,
sure, yeah.
You should go back and you should tell them what happened, and because that sounds like something is contaminated or laced. If you, I'm serious, like either there's something wrong with the batch.
Yeah, so I think honestly more than anything it was that I took so much, because Katie had said something to somebody she works with, and she's like, "Oh yeah, my sister takes those, and she smokes and only takes about 6 milligrams." So the fact that I took 30 was probably just a big shock to my system. Like, because I felt good until I didn't.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Especially if you have never, if it has like some form of like THC, and especially that much.
Yeah.
If you're not used to it, like it can make you like sick, like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I will say this, that probably the combination of that and the combination of like, you know, you probably taken CBD normally since it's already in your system, and then you add this on top, is what made you sick. The reason I say that is because I've had it to where in the past where I was on a prescription for pain medicine, and I had something at the same time with THC in it, and I got violently sick. So the combination probably, not that there's like, not that CBD gummies are as powerful as something like that, but like probably the combination, and by the fact that you've never, the fact that you took 5 times the amount that you probably should have.
Right.
Now,
so
if you cut it up into like fourths or something like that, you'd probably be okay.
That was my plan. So I was gonna one of the ones I have a whole container left because that was the first one I took out. But the next time I have one, I'm gonna cut it into a fourth, and I'm gonna take it, see if I feel any different or weird, and if I do, then I'll not take any more of it. But if I feel normal, then I might take the rest of it because, like I said, it might have just been one that slipped into the batch because it is the exact same container and everything. And I am going to go back there and let them know.
Do they look the same?
Yeah, it looks the exact same. Yeah. It's the exact same thing that I normally buy.
So I would do is take them back, get something new, and then when you get the new one, split that in the fourths. And then if that doesn't do shit, then it's probably good.
I mean, but if this is a batch that's like, I might still want to keep it, but I'll just.
Well, yeah. Like I said, Royal Rumble is around the corner, and just I mean, put a couple in the freezer for someone, and.
I gotcha. Oh boy. Yeah. So anyway, that was my experience last night. It was definitely a memorable one.
That's no Uber Eats story.
No, that wasn't the Uber Eats story,
but that's close.
Or actually, it was a regular Uber. It was a driving Uber story. But yeah.
Was it though?
Yeah. Ew. Yeah, so that was it. So Riley, you missed last week. Any thoughts that you want to get out about Survivor Series or any of the returns that we saw at Survivor Series since you weren't able to share them last week with us?
I was so happy to see Randy Orton come back. Daddy's back.
Do you like the way they debuted him? Like the fact that he didn't come out at the beginning and they kind of slow rolled it to the end and stuff like that with Mommy coming out.
I did until the end because they teased the whole thing that he's not. So then everyone's like, CM Punk's gonna take his place, and then he came out, and then so did CM Punk, and it just kind of ruined it for me,
So you thought CM Punk ruined Randy's return?
Oh, I definitely do.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought about that, and I'm like, it would be different if Randy wasn't advertised at all. I think if he was a complete holy shit shock, not talking about him or whatever, and then Punk. But then again, though, even that wouldn't be that bad because let's face it, when Adam Cole debuted in AEW and then Bryan Danielson debuted right after him, I thought that was pretty sweet. You know what I mean? Because you kind of got double your money's worth of awesome surprises. You know what I mean? So I think either way they would have done it would have been fine with me.
Okay.
My problem was that they played it off that he wasn't here, he wasn't showing up. If they wouldn't have done that part, I probably wouldn't have had so much of an issue with it.
If they wouldn't have done the whole angle where Randy wasn't, they weren't sure if Randy was coming out, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think the reason they did that way though is because the pop would have been wasted if he came out and sat in a cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely didn't need him to come out in the cage. They definitely needed him to come out how he did, just not. Yeah, he's just coming out on his own time. He's here, but he'll be out when he comes out.
Yeah. No, I could see that. I understand it. So what were your thoughts when you heard CM Punk's music hit?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I don't know if anyone can tell. I am not a fan of CM Punk. And, he's got a lot of trust to build back with me.
All right. I was talking to somebody else about this the other day, and he's a big AEW fan, doesn't even really watch WWE, and we talked a little bit about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you can have him. He's a problem," and blah blah blah, and it's like he's like, "I'd like to see him try and get away with some of the stuff he did when he's with WWE," but the thing that I keep going back to is, if you look at it from this perspective, one, he should have never been put in the position that he was in AEW. Like the whole thing with Jack Perry specifically, and I'm just talking about the incident that got him fired, not anything else. But that all came about because Jack wanted to do something, and the agents were telling him no, and he wasn't listening to the agents. So the agents went to CM Punk and said, "Hey Punk, you're the veteran here. Can you maybe talk him out of this?" So the CM Punk tried to talk him out of it. Well, that's what led to this whole issue. And that's the thing, like if the agents are telling you no and you're still trying to do it, like that's the messed up part. Like the agents should have the final say, and they shouldn't rely on another performer to try to talk somebody out of something. And I think that's kind of the difference with WWE is that he's not going to be asked to do that. He's not there to manage the talent. He's there just to be a performer. And it's the same thing as, they're not building shows around him like Collision. He's just there to be a piece of the wheel. And a lot of people are kind of surprised that he's going to be put on a brand. So he's going to get drafted, or not drafted, but he's going to sign to either Raw or SmackDown. So were you guys kind of surprised by that, thinking he would just be a free agent? Or since Randy signed, then you got to sign Punk somewhere too, right?
Yeah, that's what I figured. And definitely he's going to the opposite of what Randy did.
Yeah, I'd imagine too.
My thought.
Yeah, I mean, he's
so he's going to be on SmackDown tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he signs with Raw. I mean, because there's the eventual money to be made there with Rollins. You know what I mean? Like, I honestly could see something with him and maybe Drew right off the bat. So,
yeah, Drew said a little bit about his promo last week was kind of hinting at a little displeasure towards him.
McIntyre, because, like, to me, he's nothing. He's not a heel. He's not a face. He's probably more heelish, but I feel like he just doesn't. But he would fight heels. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I really, really like this character.
Yeah, I agree. So we got. So he's going to be on SmackDown tomorrow, but he was not on Raw this week. He was not on SmackDown last week either. So it'll be a little over a week since he's come out to talk again, which I think is kind of interesting. Like they're not kind of parading him out right away. It's kind of more of like a slow build. Okay, you got to see him, and you got to see him the next night, but now we're going to take a week off, and then we'll start kind of building something after that. But correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Roman supposed to be on SmackDown this week, or is that next week? He's supposed to come back.
I think
because this is a tribute to the Troop Show that they're doing this week.
It's either next week or I believe next week. the one right, one right before, like, yeah.
Which makes sense. If you're not going to do anything with the two of them, then why have Roman be there?
I mean, you could have Paul and have them a little something, whatever,
right.
if that even happens. But which I mean, I honestly kind of expect it too. So
yeah, I would expect it too as well. But the yeah. So then last Friday's SmackDown basically kind of revolved around Randy Orton being there, and the two GMs trying to make a play to get him, and it just I don't know, like I kind of like the way that it was done, but now we have more of a clear direction on what Randy Orton's doing, right? He's going after the bloodline. So he told Paul to let Roman know that Daddy was here and he's ready to go. So I'm excited for it though, man. Roman and Orton were definitely tops, I think, on everybody's list of the match to see, right? Like, because he hasn't really had that.
So is that going to be Rumble match, you think?
I think so, yeah. I would imagine
it's got to be.
And Roman and Randy is a credible person that could potentially take the title off of Roman. They mentioned on Raw, Kevin Owens broke his hand.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They said something about that on Monday Night Raw, but I don't know. They didn't really say anything about whether or not he'd be missing any time with that. Because he had that segment with the Waller and Theory and Logan Paul and everything.
Speaking of Kevin Owens, did you see the video inside the shark cages during War Games? It was the men's one, and Kevin Owens is going back and forth with Dom and Damian Priest and stuff, and he was talking about the numbers game, but the way he worded it, it was like backwards, because Dom's like, well, I only see 2 in your cage, and we got 3 in here, so they must not know math up there in Canada, huh? Like, it was so great.
That's hilarious.
Are you talking about this one? This War Games? Kevin Owens wasn't even in it.
Or Sammy.
Yeah, it was
Sammy. I'm sorry. Okay. What did I say, Kevin? I don't know. Sorry.
Fourth, fifth metacarpals. Yeah. He has fractures in his 4th and 5th metacarpals, and that sounds like it could be a storyline injury to me.
When you punch 2 people in the jaw at the same time.
Yeah, because that's been the whole gimmick, is him punching them at the same time. So maybe now that his hand's broke, he can't do that or something. I don't know. I guess time will tell. Let's see. I'm trying to think back to SmackDown.
Do you think LA Knight is going to challenge Logan Paul then?
I think that's going to be the WrestleMania match, I would imagine, because they have
or a Royal Rumble.
I think that'll be the WrestleMania match, because they have next week they're doing a tournament to I don't think LA Knight's in the tournament, is he?
I don't think he. Don't remember.
I don't think he is.
I remember 2 people. Some random person from NXT that we don't know yet, and Karrion Kross. Yes,
yeah. So Santos Escobar, Dragon Lee, Karrion Kross, Bobby Lashley, Grayson Waller, Austin. They put an Austin, Theory, like they're 2 different people, and an unnamed NXT. But I'm curious though too, because now that I don't know if you guys saw NXT yesterday, but did you see Wes Lee suffered an actual serious injury?
Yeah, he's gonna be out 8 months, 10 months, or something like that, or
yeah. Like it's he needs back surgery. Like he had that fatal 4-way match last week, and then this week he's basically on a crutch holding him up because he can't put weight on his legs to stand up. So his back is that fucked up that he can't even stand up straight.
So that's crazy. Injured from the fatal 4-way match?
I don't know. They didn't say when it happened or how it happened. It just whatever happened sometime between last week and this week. So they did not go into details on how he got hurt, though. But yeah, it's going to be serious. But now Dragon Lee is going to take his place at their show on Saturday, which is the Deadline show, to go up against Dirty Dom, and then Ray is actually supposed to be there in Dragon Lee's corner. So Ray must be healing up from his surgery pretty quickly if he's going to be kind of standing out there. But yeah, man, like that sucks for Wes Lee. First of all, hopefully he gets well soon. But yeah. So now I'm curious, though, if Dragon Lee is not going to be in that tournament, will they put somebody else in there, like maybe an LA Knight? I think LA Knight wasn't around the last week, or maybe even coming up because he was getting married.
Yeah, he did get married, I think.
Yeah, so maybe he had a week or two off for the wedding or something like that, which, probably not bad timing, especially if they're going to put him in the Royal Rumble, and he's not going to be a part of this match. Like, why even have him in the tournament if he's not going to win it? But, and then Kevin Owens is also in it, but again, if he has a broken hand, maybe he's not. So, and I'd be curious to see. But that'd be a good first person for Logan Paul to go up against and defend his title against, Kevin Owens, because he could potentially beat Kevin Owens. It's not going to hurt Kevin Owens at all to lose to Logan Paul, but it'd be a big boost for Logan Paul if he beats Kevin Owens. So, trying to think if there's anything else on SmackDown that kind of stood out. Okay, so what's going on with Butch? So the Brawling Brutes apparently are no more. Like, Sheamus has been MIA for a while, and Ridge Holland walked out last week. Yeah, and there's a whole thing like Lashley saying you need to make a name for yourself, something like that. So I could see this storyline going one of two ways. Either way one, which I would almost kind of prefer, he drops the name Butch and maybe goes back to being Pete Dunne. I don't know, maybe, fingers crossed. They find a creative way for him to do that. Or it almost seems like, because he keeps saying that he doesn't have anyone, this could be a way to bring Tyler Bate to the main roster.
Yeah, I can see that. Why not have both?
Yeah. Have our cake and eat it too. Yeah. I don't know. It's just something about that name, like that. Just calling him Butch, like it just doesn't.
It was never
It doesn't ring. It doesn't jump off the page. You know what I mean? Like it's. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully they can work something out with that. But he's the match he had with Bobby Lashley was phenomenal. Like, you finally got to see like Pete Dunne performing on the main roster. Like that was as close to a Pete Dunne match I think that we've seen for a long time, unless you caught him in NXT when he went up against Noam Dar. But like it was definitely a really good match, and Bobby of course came out on top, but still good.
Nothing against Tyler Bate, but I don't want him coming over with Butch. I want Butch just to go on his own.
Yeah.
Like I don't want any tag team partner. I just want him switched back to Pete Dunne and then do what he does.
Go on a run, a Pete Dunne run. Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you. I do want to see Tyler Bate on the main roster though. Like I'm kind of over the hippie gimmick, but he kind of broke out of that a little bit last week because he's a part of that deadline match that they have at the.
No, Riley, you only get one choice. You either get him as Pete Dunne with Tyler Bate, or Butch by himself. What do you want?
Well, I can get past a name.
No.
Even if they just called him Pete or even Dunn, like that, both of those would be better than Butch.
Come on, I'd rather him be called Butch. Ladies and gentlemen, Pete. Here comes Dunn.
All right.
He needs both his names back.
All right.
Pete.
You make a good point. All right, then we flip the channel over to Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, I thought was pretty good overall for a show. I like that it started basically with a match.
Dude,
and Judgment Day didn't have anything to do with the beginning of the show, which was kind of nice too.
Match, like a good 20-some minute way to start the show. Like Monday really focused on like in-ring work. If you think about it, there was a lot of, for TV show, long matches, 15 to 25 minute matches.
What is that clicking sound?
Mm. Are you are you?
I just keep hearing like
are you
sound.
Still hearing things, Jason?
No, I'm not. Thank you.
I heard it too, but I thought it was coming from me.
It might have been. Odds are it was probably me.
Yeah, it was 100% coming from Kevin. Yeah, so the whole McIntyre Sami Zayn thing, and then Sami Zayn like having apparently a leg injury, so that might take him out for a little bit. But yeah, man, it was a real story focused, just an overall good episode. And then Seth and Jay had a really solid match too. Even Shayna Baszler and Nia had a really that match was good. That was as good of a Nia Jax match as you will ever see. The only oh man, did you see when Shayna tried to German her off of the middle rope and Nia her ass landed straight on Shayna's head? Somebody perfectly spliced that with like a spot in Mortal Kombat where it shows like the impact like on the skeleton. That was probably one of my favorite videos that I saw this week. But still a good match. And dude, the crowd seemed like they really started to turn for DIY too.
I didn't catch that. I think I was in and out of back and forth on Monday Night Football. I didn't catch the DIY match.
Okay. It was a 2 out of 3.
Yeah, which was long. A nice long match. 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah, you missed a whole 2 out of 3 falls match going back and forth.
I don't know. I might turn it off for a while.
Yeah, it was a nice back and forth, and then the Cody and Shinsuke thing. So they're having a match already on this upcoming Monday.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah,
so they're paying that off quickly. Well, I mean, Cody's going to be in the Rumble though,
and there's no PLE this month. So I think that's another reason why you probably saw some matches like that, and why we probably will from here on out with no event.
Yeah, you're right. Because we had a World Championship match. Then we're going to get a personal rivalry paid off. And then we'll probably be getting, my guess is we'll probably get the Judgment Day versus, who's the number one contenders again? The Creed brothers, right?
Creed brothers.
So the Creed brothers and Judgment Day probably next week.
I think Creed brothers are going to take the titles too, honestly.
Wow, you think their rise is going to go that quick?
And that way I think you can kind of start then seeing maybe cracks or something with Judgment Day. I still think something sooner or later is going to happen. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Can we just all agree how amazing it is to have R-Truth back?
Yes.
Especially like in Judgment Day.
Yes.
And he brought the TV, and it was like from like the 1990s.
What was he eating again? It was like
whatever it was. It was messy.
The first week, it was Jelly Rolls.
Yeah,
because Jelly Roll was there.
That was the first week.
Yeah, trying to find Jelly Roll.
Like, I'm gonna find those nominated Jelly Rolls. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was. I mean, dude, R-Truth is not missed. He's man. Now, when you watched, because you didn't watch Survivor Series live, right, Riley?
Right.
Did you see his return? Did they still show his return then at Survivor Series in the Ruffles ad?
Yes. Where he was like behind the couch.
Yeah.
And I told Jason last week, apparently he was in the crowd when Jay came out and Jay was on top of the shark cage doing his thing with the crowd. Apparently there was a video. He's like literally like right there. He just snuck in and like people didn't even realize he was there. And then it was just like him posting a video like he was just a normal fan. So speaking of Jay again real quick, how about No More Yeet?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, so apparently that's owned by a indie wrestler. I forget what
Casey
the
Huffman.
name is. Yeah, but she apparently owns that trademark. So Jay is no longer no yeet. Yeah. Roman got his wish. Yeet is over. Which honestly, I don't think he needs it. I think that got popular because he was hammered in that press conference and kept saying it over and over again, and then Cody kept saying it, and then it kind of became a thing. But I think that's something he can exist without. I mean, the crowd was still hot for him when he, for that match he had with Seth, and man, it seems like the crowd is maybe turning on Seth a little bit. You got a lot of CM Punk chants during that match. You got a lot of people really going for Jay in that match. And it seems like maybe, so is this maybe the start of another heel turn for Seth, like with the whole CM Punk thing, or?
I mean, I could see it. He's another one I like better as a heel. But honestly though, I think I don't know. I like this version of Seth Rollins, but as a heel, but not, quite. Like he still plays into the crowd when they, sing his song and everything like that. But like he's not like a face, so you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they're definitely setting up. I mean this is going to be him versus Punk. It's just a matter of how long they wait to do it. Like I feel like it's probably going to happen at Royal Rumble, be my guess. But I mean, Raw is in Cleveland this week, and Punk is going to be there. So I don't think I'm going to make the same mistake I did when we went to the AEW show when he was there.
I still think Seth and Punk are going to main event night one.
Okay, all right. I mean, it'd be the first main event for both of them, really. I mean, you could technically say Seth was in the main event, but he kind of jumped into it. He wasn't actually booked for it, so we'll see. Might happen. Trying to think if there's anything else on Raw that would be pertinent to go over. So, and then I did watch NXT. What do you guys think of that? What's that match called that they're doing on Saturday? The men and women have it. I'm trying to. The show's called Deadline, but that's not the match.
Iron Challenge.
Iron Survivor match. Yeah. So I don't know if they just this is kind of what they did once they lost War Games. They did this last year too. It's just kind of an interesting concept. If you get pinned, that's a point for the person that pins you, and then you have to spend like 15 minutes in like a penalty box or something like that, like a shark cage penalty box. I don't know. Like I last year it seemed like it was okay, but what do you guys think of the concept of that?
I don't get it. It's kind of like the Continental Classic on AEW. I don't know who's gold, blue, pink, red. 5 points, no points.
I think
we'll talk about that in a minute, but
they need to get rid of the cage thing. Like, you get pinned, you got pinned.
You don't like the penalty box idea?
No.
It caused a little drama last year. Like I think they did it well with that. So, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. And then Joe Gacy's new character is really weird. Like there's no more. They've kind of ditched the cult thing. He started posting weird videos from on the roof a few weeks ago. Then last week he was under the ring, and he went and like stole the ring bell, so they couldn't end a match because they didn't have a bell. And then last year he kind of popped his head, or last week he popped his head out during commentary and was just acting like super crazy. So kind of interesting where that's going on. And Ava Raine now is apparently Shawn Michaels like go between. So he makes things happen and she announces it, which is weird. So just kind of a weird difference from where those characters were just a short time ago. But
which I like those characters, so I'm not happy with this.
Soul Show's all about stuff that Riley hates now. All right, and then I guess, and then the news about Wes Lee was the only other thing really that was big on the NXT show. I mean, there's still that whole storyline with Trick and Mello and how Lexis King fits in and stuff like that. So they're going real story heavy too, which NXT's been kind of fun to watch over the past few weeks. But yeah, man, Wes Lee, like, I don't know what happened, but dude has to have back surgery and it's gonna be out 8 months. Like that was crazy. Like I don't if you even see a picture of him in the ring, like it looks rough. Like he could barely move around out there. Like that was terrible. Felt bad for the guy. I just wonder what happened. All right. Well, I guess we can move on. Who watched AEW last night?
I watched a little bit. I did watch the entire main event. The stuff with MJF, all that stuff. Okay. I watched that. I watched Tony Storm, and then the main event. Pretty much the main stuff that only matters.
All right. So the Tony Storm brings up something that it kind of dawned on me that this is part of the issue I have with AEW. They do a good job. Lately, they've been doing a better job with story, right? Timeless Tony Storm, awesome story. But here's the issue I have with it. She was in a championship match against Sky Blue. Where did that come from? All of a sudden, Sky Blue gets a championship match. And it was kind of the same thing like when oh my gosh, why am I blanking on her name? Because Riho came out, but it's not Riho. It's the champion before.
I know. Sheeta.
Shida, yes. So, but it was the same thing with her, right? She just had random championship matches every week, and I know, Kevin, you always hated when the champion was in a non-title match and loses, but here they're just in title matches and they're either winning or losing them. There's not really a whole lot of rhyme or reason to it. So they do an okay job of building the story around the champion, but not any of the contenders that are coming up for that championship.
No.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I'd like to see that a little bit more. I mean, I guess Toni Storm had a little bit of a story, but she didn't. It was more her story. It wasn't necessarily her story with Sheeta. And then she won it, but now Storm's just having all these random just title matches, which it's cool to see Sky Blue get that opportunity, but she's been building a story with like 3 other women, and then all of a sudden she has a title match. She couldn't even win the TBS championship or the TNT championship or whatever it is. Or that's a TBS championship, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So she couldn't even win that, but yet that now she has a title match against Toni Storm. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But as a male viewer,
it makes sense.
It was a fun match to watch. I'm not
although Sky Blue's shoulders were not. Neither of them were on the mat. Now, whether that's supposed to come back and play into it or not, I don't know. But
no, probably won't.
Not.
They'll just gloss over it. Because she didn't make a big deal of it after it happened. So if she had made a big deal about it after it happened, I would say, yeah,
her back wasn't
it's
even
a storyline.
Oh yeah.
And that's on the referees. Like, you got to stop it and say, hey, her shoulders aren't down. Like, you're gonna have to do something else, and then have them
reposition,
fix it. But or they could do another move or something along those lines. Like, there's a way that they can, that's what they're supposed to do. They're performers, right? They come up with stuff on the fly, but her shoulders were not down at all. So Riley's probably pissed about that because he loves Sky Blue.
Yeah. I have not watched AEW in a couple weeks. Okay. I'm slammed at work, and I'm lucky to watch SmackDown and Raw, so
All right.
'tis the
Well,
season to be busy.
I'm not gonna hold that too much against you. So, Kevin, you mentioned that you're not sure what's going on with the Continental Classic.
I know in the end of the day they're unifying two belts into one. Basically, three belts into
actually.
two belts are going to become the third belt, and now you're just going to have another title. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, it's not a bad thing because you're kind of getting rid of one, and I don't know. But like what I don't get is that if one of the titles that you're unifying is the Ring of Honor World Title, so are they just not going to have Ring of Honor titles anymore?
Well, I never got that they were unifying it. I thought they were just going to be a Triple Crown champion. Is what they've been announcing.
Okay.
So they're going to have all three belts.
What they're doing is copying what All Japan Pro Wrestling does, not New Japan. There's All Japan Pro Wrestling. So All Japan Pro Wrestling has a Triple Crown. Like their world championship is called the Triple Crown Championship, and it's literally three different belts. It's three different like Japan governing bodies or whatever. Like this has been around since like the late 70s, 80s, okay? And they've always had like three belts. And the person was always the Triple Crown champion. So that is my guess is what they are copying.
Yeah, and then they're using a New Japan tournament style to do it.
Gotcha.
So that's basically it. Because it's basically like a Super Juniors type tournament or something like that.
Like
so
a J Cup.
Yeah. Because they get points when they win and stuff like that. Now, the one thing I've liked about it though is it has bred some like new matchups that we haven't seen before, which has been fun. And some of the matches have actually been really good for it. So I can't really complain too much about it there. And it's leading towards Swerve and Mox next week because they have the most points in the one bracket. But it's just seemed the one thing though, the way that they did it is like a couple of people are basically mathematically eliminated already, and you're like 3 weeks into it. So that's the one thing about it I kind of don't like is that it just seems like it's rushing to get to the end of it. But it is what it is. I would have thought maybe a couple of these matches would end in time limit draws, but that hasn't happened yet. But Swerve and Mark Briscoe had a really good match. Mox had a really good match against Roosh. I mean, I guess it was an okay match. I don't really like Roosh all that much. I don't think either. I don't know. Just not a big fan of that guy. But then Jay White and Jay Lethal had a really good match at the end of the night.
I did see that match. That was pretty good. That was really good.
So, and then we got a continuation of the Devil storyline. It's so Samoa Joe and MJF were supposed to tag against like two of the Devil minions, but then that didn't happen because they took out MJF, and then Joe had to run out to see what happened. Now MJF was laid out after a beer bottle was broken over his head. So theories are, well, it's a beer bottle. Could it be Hangman? I doubt it. He's got his own shit going on. Or could it be Jack Perry because he used real glass? I don't see that because I don't see them using that as a storyline crux because that situation led to such a black eye with them. Like I feel like the internet people will bring that up, but I don't see them actually bringing that up in a storyline capacity or using that as a way to get heat.
Somebody said, was it a little bit of the bubbly?
It didn't look like that big of a bottle, but maybe. I guess you only really saw the neck sitting there.
Could Jericho be the devil and then everybody else is Pinnacle? Because somebody posted a picture today, and I meant to screenshot and send to you guys, that the one guy that was dressed up like the devil, the boots he had on were the exact same boots, same shoes, boot size as Wardlow's. Yeah. So they're like, that one guy's got to be Wardlow.
Well, and then when Wardlow came out, he looked like all disheveled and his hair was all messed up and stuff like that. So, yeah. Because we talked about that last week.
Yeah, but there was no, I mean, no, we did talk about that last week. I was saying from last night, the one guy that was in the ring,
gotcha.
they had his boots, and then I think Wardlow, did he wrestle? I think he wrestled last night.
Wardlow, I don't think Wardlow had a match last night.
Whenever the last time he wrestled.
He wrestled the week prior.
So it was from last week, his boots, and then the guy last night had the exact same boots, same boot size. Like so.
Yeah, I mean, you have all these people that are declaring that they're going after MJF, so it makes sense that some of these people are part of that group, because then everything will just kind of converge, as opposed to all these separate entities still gunning after him.
It could be Adam Cole, maybe leading Pinnacle. I don't know.
Yeah, could be. You got any theories on the Devil, Riley?
Not anymore. I feel like I've missed so much.
Yeah. Well, 2 weeks ago, Cole was there, and he was in the ring with MJF, and he reached in his pocket, and all of a sudden the arena went black, and the Devil thing came up on the screen. And then as soon as it came back, he took his hand out of his pocket. So kind of insinuating that he clicked something in his pocket that made that happen. But he was, on crutches, and, his legs all wrapped up and stuff like that. And then, they, we've had that, what he was talking about with Wardlow for a couple of weeks now, because they've had the henchmen out, the Devil's black-faced people have been out in the arena the last couple of weeks, and the one guy really looks like Wardlow. It's almost kind of obvious that it's Wardlow. And then literally Wardlow had a match right after. Yeah. He literally had a match right after, and he came out and his hair looked all weird and his face was sweaty, and he had the same boots on the other guy had on. And so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
If they were smart, they would just get random people to do that. Not even the actual people that are going to be involved in it. Just.
But that's what they wanted. Didn't Tony Khan make a point to say that they wanted it to be that way, to where the people that are involved in it.
I don't know if it was him or if it was some kind of inside source, and not Meltzer, but somebody said that supposedly the people that have been dressing up are the actual people that are going to be revealed.
It's just a matter of how they're going to reveal them. The problem, my issue with this whole thing is, the longer that it goes on, this is why I feel like they should have revealed it at the last pay-per-view, but the longer this goes on, I feel like the less impactful whoever it ends up being is. I feel like if it ends up being Jack Perry, everybody's going to shit on it. Adam Cole, it'll be, I'm sure people, that's kind of what everybody's expecting, so I'm sure everybody would be like, oh, that's awesome. But at the same time, I think the longer you wait, think about just how long they waited, and everybody thought, oh, maybe it's CM Punk, and everybody was getting excited, oh my gosh, did they just pull off the biggest angle in wrestling? Well, now it's very obviously not CM Punk. So now it's not, so it's expectations continue to grow week after week after week that they don't reveal who it is. So then when they finally do, it's going to be the fucking higher power thing all over again. You know what I mean? Just.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that is a good point. I'm not saying I've lost interest in it. I just think that maybe they're just in a lull of it, but something needs some steam to pick it back up. You know what I mean?
When has this type of storyline ever worked? Let's look back to, I did it for The Rock. I did it for the Great One, right? That whole who ran Steve Austin over. It ended up being Rikishi, but he lied about it. It wasn't Rikishi, it was somebody else. Then there was the higher power storyline that ended up being up Vince McMahon. Everybody was disappointed by that reveal. There was the Black Scorpion thing in WCW, right? And that ended up being Ric Flair. So that was that also was a big disappointment for everybody. It's anytime they try to do this type of story, can you think of anyone that really worked well?
Where they had like a mystery guy? You mean like?
Yeah, like a mystery person, like that. In this situation where there's somebody pulling the strings in the background. Like I can't think of any. I can't think of any that it really.
The NWO, because technically Hogan was orchestrating
Okay.
that. I mean, now, but
The third man.
But the reason that's different is because you didn't have. I mean, they kept saying our surprise buddy, the third man. Who's the third man? Who's the third man? So kind of, yeah. I get where you're coming from. So we're like, okay, the Black Scorpion had voiceovers and appearances, and you know, the stuff with Aces and Eights. You know what I mean? Aces and Eights was, I don't know. It was okay until D'Lo Brown was revealed as one of them. So, you know.
I mean, I guess that one worked out with Bubba being the one that was pulling the string, but even that was like confusing because he got beat up a couple of times through the whole thing. Yeah. So it's like,
I don't know. I mean, outside of that, there really isn't too many things out there that were, I don't know, newsworthy to talk about as far as reveals. Like,
I mean, there was the who beat up Shawn Michaels in the parking lot that turned into Triple H, that turned into their SummerSlam match. But that was a real quick turnaround, and it was kind of one of those things. And you kind of knew who it was. But that was short, and it was impactful, and it led to the match. So that one, wasn't necessarily a disappointment because it was almost like, oh, it's actually better because now we're getting Shawn Michaels versus Triple H.
I think the reason it's been so weird and confusing is because, like, okay, Jay White was beat up. Well, that was the guy that, like, MJF was feuding with at the time. And, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be different if, like, they went to MJF's parents' house and beat up his dad or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I don't know. Or if MJF had more allies and stuff and they were taking them out and stuff, so.
Well, they took out the Acclaimed, and now I don't watch Collision that often, but I haven't seen the Acclaimed on Dynamite since that happened. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Maybe that big guy is Billy Gunn. Maybe it's really the Acclaimed all along that are the Devil's Henchmen.
Could be.
And then there's a lot of people that think maybe it's Kyle O'Reilly or he's a part of it in some way, shape, or form. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe QT Marshall really didn't leave AEW and it's him. Oh, man. I don't know. Time will tell, I guess, right? Well, I really don't have anything else.
Well, we got to talk about the main event.
Oh, shit, the main event. How did I almost skip over the main event? Christian Cage versus the Rated R Superstar Adam Copeland. Still just doesn't have the same.
I think they should. I think they should just change it. They should just change it to Adam.
Adam.
Here comes Adam.
Oh, we also fucking Roddy stood up. He got out of the wheelchair. Yes. Yeah. Still has a neck brace on, but no more.
I got pretty emotional. Yeah, I mean, there's the death of Eddie Guerrero. And
God!
And then right after that is Roddy standing up.
Wow, I can't believe you just compared that to the death of Eddie Guerrero. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Just being funny.
Oh man.
We're talking about emotional TV moments.
Yeah, I don't know if Roderick Strong standing up out of his wheelchair is as emotionally impactful.
It's not. I'm just joking.
The dude from Pretty Deadly getting out of his wheelchair.
That's true.
Yeah, the wheelchair he was in for his shoulder injury.
Yes. That one hit me. That one hit me pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get their names confused, so I don't remember their names. It was the blonde one.
Elton Prince and Oh shit! I'm gonna blank on the other one. Kit something? Kip? No.
Anyway, the main event.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland, TNT Championship. It cut out for me slightly after the big kind of reveal at the end, but this was a pretty brutal match. Like, it was very much just Edge beating the shit out of Christian, basically, for the majority of it. Like, it got back and forth a little bit, but what'd you think of it?
I mean, I thought, especially at the end, like, I actually thought it was done pretty well. I mean, I think they could have done a little bit better job with, like, it seemed like it was pretty obvious she was going to hit Edge.
Yeah, she did a bad job of teasing who she was going to hit.
To her credit, she's probably not. Now, is that legit his mom? Okay.
Yeah.
And she's never been in anything probably ever, right?
I mean, she was married to a wrestler, but I don't know if she was one herself.
I mean...
So, to catch you up, Riley, Nick Wayne's mom came out at the end of the night while both guys were down, and she picked up the TNT title and kind of, like, went back and forth, but ended up hitting Edge in the face with it.
Yeah. But Christian wasn't done there. He, like, put Edge's face on top of the title and, like, stomped his, like, not his head, his neck. Oh, you didn't see that, did you?
Yeah. No, I didn't see that because it cut out.
So that was, so he put, like, set him up for, like, a concerto, but he stomped, that's how that was the finish of it, and it was brutal. He stomped his neck, and then he got the pin. And then it just went off the air. Like, she walked out and left, and it just went off the air with, like, you could tell the fans, like, if they had, like, if they were allowed to, with, like, bombarded the ring with trash. Like, it was kind of that like type of heat. There was a lot of fuck you, Christian, and so
yeah. I honestly thought this was going to go a way of Nick Wayne's mom making out with Christian, and it, like, being like a thing that they're, like, together, but it didn't happen that way. But
yeah, and I could see that happening probably eventually or something. But
this is another way to get heat.
But and I'm glad Christian won. But I like how it happened. Keep it on him. Adam or Edge or whatever doesn't need it. Doesn't need the title. Christian's hot right now. You know what I mean? Like, he's actually making that title relevant. So keep it on him.
So how many weeks now, though, is Adam going to be out? Do you think? Because he's probably going to be out for a little bit after something like that happens, right?
I don't
know. Be interesting to see. Oh, all right. But yeah, I thought it was a good match. It was definitely fun, and of course, you got the heat angle at the end, but at the same time, though, Adam did kind of fuck up her kid.
Yeah, he kind
of brutalized him right in front of her. So
kind of deserved it.
You kind of see that happening, you know what I mean? But I mean, as a mom, what would you do?
I honestly, in the end, I think whatever happens, like whatever Christian's next thing is with whoever or whatever, I could see. I'm just gonna call him Edge. I can't call him Adam Copeland. I have to call him Edge. I see Edge joining forces with him and turning heel.
Okay.
Because I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like one of those things where you just expect him to come in. Here he is. He's just another face or whatever, ex-WWE guy. But, like, make him heel and pair them up. I think they would be a great combination, like heel combination. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can see.
I mean, why not?
I'm not gonna say wrong with it. Right. I don't know. Like, I just, it just kind of goes back to the last time there was one interview that I saw with Edge where he was talking about how, like, the fans didn't want to boo him, which is why he quickly pivoted out of the Judgment Day thing. It's like he was having a hard time getting that heel heat because the fans, like, wanted to cheer for him. So I would think his run would probably have to go a little bit longer where he would overstay his welcome a little bit. before he could do that. But I don't know, but you could be right. I mean, and AEW, it doesn't really seem to matter, like the heels and baby faces and stuff like that. Because we look at Swerve, like, yeah, he's kind of a heel, but he gets a pretty loud reaction. And, guys like the Blackpool Combat Club who, did you see Moxley's shirt, by the way, when he came out? He had his Death Jiu-Jitsu shirt on, but underneath it said, "Fuck the hard cam."
Oh, I did not see that. That's awesome. I saw a picture the other day from the Jets game, because there was, like, nobody at the Jets game the other day. They said, "Is this the Jets game or the hard cam side of an AEW show?"
Wow.
Oh, good stuff.
Yep. All right, cool. Well, that's all I got. You guys got anything else before I wrap it up? Riley, got your one note handy?
I have 2 notes, but I think they're from last week. So Dante coming back in AEW after his brutal ankle injury, that was pretty nice to see.
Yeah.
Man, that was a rough injury. And then I think last week Randy had a match versus Dominic, right?
Yep.
And then Jelly Roll punched Dominic right in the face, right in front of the ref, and didn't get disqualified. Dominic should have won that match.
That's true.
And that's all I got.
All right. That is true. He did punch him in plain view of the referee. But maybe because he's a fan and not a member of the not in anybody's corner.
I don't know. Interference is interference.
That kind of reminds me of remember when they were in Saudi and Theory ran down during Roman's match to try to cash in Money in the Bank, and Tyson Fury just knocked him the fuck out. Good stuff. All right. Well, I thank you guys for listening to this week's episode of the show. Hopefully you enjoyed my story at the beginning and enjoyed the rest of the content of the show. Hopefully you have your own opinions you can share with us by finding us on X at Live Your Gimmick. That's the @ symbol followed by LIVYOURGIMMICK. We'll be back next week. We'll probably talk a little bit of NXT Deadline since it airs on Saturday. See if anything fun or newsworthy happens out of that. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on CM Punk delivering whatever he's going to deliver tomorrow night on SmackDown. Well, at least Kevin and I will. Riley will care less, but and kind of see what happens with the Randy Orton storyline going forward. Oh, speaking of which, did you see where a couple weeks ago where Jay, maybe it was either he got laid out by an RKO last week or it was the week before he got laid out by blunt force trauma, but he laid in the ring like he was dead the entire time.
Roll
and
him
the
out.
Ring crew had to actually roll him out of the way to clean up the ring. Dude. Yeah. Jimmy Uso, I'm sorry, it was Jimmy Uso, not Jay, but Jimmy Uso, man, he has been on another level since being solo. Somebody had posted a mashup of all of his funny moments that he's had, and just all the high fives with Solo, where Solo doesn't give him the high five, so he does the handshake by himself and stuff like that. Such good shit, man. The phone calls with Roman, the no eat one, stuff, just so good. Running an audible with Paul. Anyway. All right, well, hey, thank you guys again for listening. Again, my name is Jason, for Kevin and Riley. We will see you next week and talk about more going on in the world of professional wrestling.
Viva la raza.
Goodbye, everybody.
No eat.